Hello students. Hello students. Today we start the new topic, that is uniform circular motion. Last time we learned about the Newton's first equation of motion, Newton's second equation of motion, and Newton's third equation of motion. Graphically we prove that all the three equations. Today's our new topic is uniform circular motion. Now let's try this. Observe the tip of the second hand of a clock. What can you say about its velocity and speed? The speed of the tip is a constant, but the direction of its displacement and therefore its velocity is constantly changing. As the tip is moving along a circular path, its motion is called uniform circular motion. Can you give more example of such motion? So you try to find out few more examples. Now try out and think about it. Draw a rectangular path as shown in the figure. Place the tip of your pencil on the middle of any side of the square path and trace the path. Note how many times you have to change the direction while tracing the complete path. Now repeat this action for a pentagonal, hexagonal, octagonal path and note the number of times you have to change direction. If you increase the number of sides of the polygon means many sided figure, and make it infinite, how many times will you have to change the direction and what will be the shape of the path? This shows that as we increase the number of sides, we have to keep changing direction more and more times. And when we increase the number of sides to infinity, the polygon becomes a circle. Remember this. When an object is moving with a constant speed, the change in the velocity is only due to change in direction, because that object moving on a circular path. Hence it is an accelerated motion. So define uniform circular motion. So you mark the definition. When an object moves with a constant speed along a circular path, that motion is called uniform circular motion. For example, the motion of a stone in a string or that of any point on a bicycle will when they are in uniform motion. So you mark the definition properly. What is define uniform circular motion? What is the formula of uniform circular motion? Now check in this box. If an object moving along a circular path of radius r takes time t to come back to its starting position, its speed can be determined using the formula given below. Speed is equal to, now circular path means nothing but circumference upon time. So we know the formula of circumference. Therefore, velocity or speed V is equal to 2 pi r, that is the circumference upon t. R means nothing but what? Radius of the circular path or circle. So remember this definition and this formula. Next. Now find out more example of circular motion in day-to-day life. For example, rotation of the blades of fan, then any wheel of vehicle, etc. You try to find out few more example. Now determining the direction of velocity of uniform circular motion. One more activity given for us. Take a circular disc and put a 5 rupee coin at a point along its edge. Make it move around its axis by putting the pin around it, through it. When the disc is moved at higher speed, the coin will be thrown off as shown in the figure. This coin is thrown from this position. Note the direction in which it is thrown off. Repeat the action placing the coin at different points along the edge of the circle and observe the direction in which the coin is thrown off. So check there. The coin will be thrown off in the direction of the tangent. Confirm it, which is perpendicular to the radius of disc. You know the meaning of tangent. Thus, the direction in which it gets thrown off depends on its position at the moment of getting thrown off. It means that as the coin moves along a circular path, the direction of its motion is changing at every point. Now few solved examples are given on these pages, so you try to write the answer in that pattern that is given to find formula and solution. I will show the solution of these 4 solved example in our assignment. Next. Now next point is Newton's law of motion. What could be the reason for the following? Few examples are given for us. Now check that. For example, first one, a static object does not move without the application of a force. Second, the force which is sufficient to lift a book from a table is not sufficient to lift the what? Check there, table. Third example, fruits on a tree fall down when its branches are shaken. And fourth example, an electric fan keeps on rotating for some times even after it is switched off. If we look for a reason for the above, we realize that object have some inertia. New concept here, new point is introduced, inertia. We learn in the next paragraph. What is meant by inertia? We have to learn that inertia is related to what? Underline mass of an object. Newton's first law of motion describe this very property, and therefore this Newton's first law of motion is also called as a law of inertia. Underline. All examples, instances means all examples of inertia are the examples of Newton's first law of motion. Now Newton's first law of motion. Let's try this. Page number 12. Fill a glass with sand. Keep a piece of a cardboard on it. Keep a 5 rupee coin on the cardboard. Now strike the cardboard hard using your finger like you are playing a carom. Coins are we are strike the coins on the carom board like that. So and observe what happened. So answer of this question given on one paper. Now check here. The cardboard answer. The cardboard on being struck falls off the glass on the ground nearby, while the coin falls straight onto the sand inside the glass. You think about this, why that coin not moving with the cardboard, but instead of that coin falls directly straight onto the sand inside the glass because of mass of the coin, and the concept related to the mass and force is inertia. Come back. So that is related to our Newton's first law of motion, balance and unbalanced forces. In previous standard you learn about this balance and unbalanced forces. Now you must have played tug of war. As long as the forces applied by both the sides are equal, that is called as what? On both the side forces are equal, then called as a balanced force. The center of the rope is static. Static means remains rest in spite of the applied force. On both the side, equal amount of force is exerted on that rope, and that's why that rope remains the same, that is static. On the other hand, when the applied forces becomes unequal, called as a unbalanced forces. A net force gets applied in the direction of the greater force and the center of the road shifts in that direction. So here two definition are what is balanced force, what is unbalanced force. Try to write down the answer of these two questions. State Newton's first law of motion. So statement is given that these two bold lines mark there. Newton's first law of motion state an object continues to remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion along a straight line unless an external unbalanced force acts on it. Means no any force exerted on externally on any object. So what happened? That object continue to remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion, that is never change unless an external unbalanced forces acts on it. This is a statement of Newton's first law of motion. When an object is at a rest or in uniform motion along a straight line, it does not mean that no force is acting on it. Actually, there are a number of forces acting on it, but they cancel one another so that the net force is zero. Newton's first law explains the phenomenon of inertia, that is, now definition of inertia is occur here. Define inertia. So answer is given here. All of you mark this answer. The inability of an object to change its state of motion on its own. It's called inertia. That is the definition of inertia. The inability of an object to change its state of motion on its own, called as inertia. Remember, it also explains the unbalanced forces which cause a change in the state of an object at rest or in uniform motion. So this explanation related to the Newton's first law of motion, that is balanced unbalanced force statement, is given. Next question given for us. Now Newton's second law of motion. First question. Ask your friend to drop one plastic and one rubber ball from some height. You catch the ball. Which ball was easier to catch and why? Find out the answer. Second question. Ask your friend to throw a ball towards you at a slow speed. Try to catch it. Now ask your friend to throw the same ball at a high speed towards you. Try to catch it. In the second case also, which ball could you catch with greater ease and why? So effect, now answer of these two questions we are see the explanation on one separate paper. Check here. Answer of the first one, that is related to the mass of the ball. The plastic ball was easier to catch. Plastic ball was easier to catch as it has less mass than the rubber ball. Means less the mass, we are catching that ball easily. Second point, second question, answer of that. For the same ball thrown with less speed, underline, is easier to catch. This is because ball with lesser speed has a lower momentum. New concept is introduced here, that is related to mass and velocity. As a result, while stopping the ball, rate of change of momentum would be less, since the rate of change of momentum is proportional to applied force. Lesser amount of force is needed to stop the ball with the less speed, making it easier to catch. Means less the speed, that ball we are easily catch. And in first question, less the mass, that ball also we are catching easily. So new concept is introduced in this next point, Newton's second law of motion, that is the momentum. See on that page. See the explanation. The effect of one object striking another object depends both on mass of the former object and its velocity. This means that the effect of the force depends on a property related to mass and velocity of striking object. This property is termed as momentum by Newton. So define momentum. Question is asked and write down its formula. Momentum. Definition: the product of mass and velocity of an object is called as what? Momentum. Momentum indicated as a capital P, and that's why momentum P is equal to the product of m means mass, v means velocity. It is related to velocity, and we know that velocity is a vector quantity, and that's why momentum is also a vector quantity. What is the SI and CGS unit of momentum? Now, momentum has a magnitude as well as direction. Its direction is the same as that of velocity. So, in SI system, what is the unit? Underline. The unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second. And in CGS system, the unit of momentum is gram centimeter per second. Make the dot here. If an unbalanced force applied on an object causes a change in the velocity of the object, then it also causes a change in its momentum. Change in velocity, so change in momentum is also occur because both are directly proportional to each other. The force necessary to cause a change in the momentum of an object depends on rate of change of momentum, and same concept introduced by Newton in his second law. So instead, Newton's second law of motion statement is given here. You mark that statement. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force, and the change of momentum occur in the direction of forces. This is a Newton's second law of motion. Now here question is asked, derive the equation of Newton's second law. Question is asked here, state Newton's second law of motion and derive the equation of force using Newton's second equation of motion. So equation start from this next point. Suppose an object of mass m. M means mass of an object, u means nothing but initial velocity of an object, capital F means nothing but applied force on an object, the direction of its velocity, that is t means nothing but time, and after the time t there is change in velocity occur, that is called as v. V means nothing but final velocity of an object. Therefore, as per the second law, the product of mass and velocity is called as momentum. So initial momentum of an object is mu, final momentum after time t is mv. According to second law, rate of change of momentum is equal to change in momentum upon time. The rate of change of rate of means nothing but with respect to the time. Next, therefore, rate of change of momentum is equal to change in momentum means nothing but final momentum minus initial momentum. So what is the final momentum? That is the mv that we substitute here, minus initial momentum is mu upon t. So m is common at numerator. So m in bracket what? V minus u upon t. But we know this. V minus u upon t means nothing but acceleration. We know the formula of acceleration, and that's why we substitute the value a instead of this v minus u upon t. So we are getting rate of change of momentum is equal to ma. Next. According to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is what? Proportional to applied force. So that we write like this. Rate of change of momentum means that we find out here ma is directly proportional to, that is the sign of directly proportional, applied force F. We write in opposite manner. Ma is directly proportional to F. It means nothing but applied force F is directly proportional to ma. If we remove this proportionality sign taking one constant k, so F is equal to k into ma. K means nothing but constant of proportionality and its value is 1. Therefore, if we substitute this value k is equal to 1 in this equation, so we are getting F is equal to product of mass and acceleration. This equation is called as right now, that equation is called as a force equation. Write down. This F equal to mf, force is equal to product of mass and acceleration. This equation is called as force equation. So in this way, this is a 2 to 3 mark question asked in the exam. Now consider two objects having a different masses which are initially at rest. The initial momentum for both is 0. Suppose a force capital F acts for time t on both objects. The lighter object starts moving faster than heavier object. Lighter object starts moving faster than heavier object. If we apply, there is less the mass, more velocity produced in that object. However, from the above formula F equal to ma, we know that the rate of change of momentum, that is the F, that is the force in both object, is the same, and the total change in their momentum will also the same, that is F into T, according to that formula, product of force and time. If the same force is applied on a different object, the change in momentum is the same. Next, what is the SI and CGS unit of force and define? Next, as in SI system, the unit of force is a Newton. So define 1 Newton or Newton. Mark the definition. The force necessary to cause an acceleration of 1 meter per second square in an object of 1 kilogram is called as 1 Newton. Mathematically, 1 Newton means nothing but 1 kilogram multiplied by 1 meter per second square. This is first definition, that is the SI unit of force is Newton. CGS unit of force is dyne. Underline, in CGS system, unit of force is dyne. Define dyne or 1 dyne. The force necessary to cause an acceleration of 1 centimeter per second square in an object of mass 1 gram is called 1 dyne. Mathematically, 1 dyne is equal to 1 gram multiplied by 1 centimeter per second square. So mathematically, we are writing like this, and we are define 1 Newton, 1 dyne like that. Last question, use your brain power. Why is there a thick bed of sand for a high jumper to fall on after his jump? See the answer of this last question. This is a give reason question. When an athlete falls on a sand bed, it takes a longer time for them to come to a halt. This ensures the rate of change of momentum of athlete is less. As a result, what happened? A smaller stopping force acts on the athletes, and the athletes does not get hurt. This 2 point is the answer of this give reason question. So you write down this give reason with answer in your notebook. So in this way, today we learn about the Newton's first law of motion. Before that, uniform circular motion, it's a formula. Then Newton's first law of motion, then Newton's second law of motion, and its mathematical equation. So in assignment number 3, these questions are given here. I will give separately one photograph of this assignment number 3. Few questions are there. So this question with answer you write in your notebook. All are getting? So see the video carefully, okay? And whatever the points are given here, that you learn carefully and try to write down the answer. Thank you.